when people say life experience, I think 90% they mean some shit went down.
See, that's why I feel, people say come to India to see the sights and all that stuff. Come to India, beautiful old architecture, a lot of history, food. I think that what India as a trip does to you, and I feel this of most places that give you life experiences. The life experience is not necessarily the beauty of the landscape or the architecture. It's what you went through while going to those places, right? When they put you through this rigor, this is the life experience that a place like India can put you through.
So I think what this message is saying is come to India.
Come. Then we'll see who you are. And you'll definitely leave a different person.
And when they tell you how was it, it was good life experience.
Life changing.
And you know what life experience means.
Correct.
Yeah.
What did you see? I don't know what I saw. I have no idea.
But go.
But you must. You have to experience it. You have to go to know.
One child is missing.
Yeah.
Where's your middle son?
Life experience.
Go to India. Go to India. Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Pal.
Hi.
It's been a while, huh?
2 months.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah. For a second I had a flash in my head thinking, what if we've forgotten how to do this? What if we're not good at this anymore and we get nervous?
It's possible.
It's possible. And then suddenly in the middle of it, I go, I can't do it. And I take it off and run. That's like what we used to call stage fright in the old days. I guess we don't get that kind of stage fright anymore. Like, mama, we don't get that.
But when you go on just before your stand-up shows, you don't get those jitters, those butterflies.
I might at some point.
But for this podcast, we've never had that feeling.
We've never had. That's what I'm saying.
But even I'm feeling a little nervous today.
Yeah, but
Feeling
not to when people who have proper stage fright apparently, because we're not in a stage, we're just in a tiny imprisoned room.
Right.
But when people get proper stage fright, I've heard they go, they just freeze in the middle of the thing and say, I can't do this anymore and run away. I've never had that in life. Have you ever had that's what they say stage fright is.
I mean, I haven't had it on stage, but I've had it in life. So I think when I was going through college, I did have that moment where I felt I can't do this anymore and I ran away from college.
You physically ran away.
I physically, what I did was...
I guess there's no conundrum here. We're just sharing about your past.
But it's stemming from your, this butterfly. But it wasn't out of nervousness that I did it. It was out of more frustration and just whatever. So I was there and I was sitting at an exam and I opened the question paper or whatever and I was like, what is this? Why am I even attempting to answer this? This has no interest to me. So I sat down and then, you get the question paper. So I got it, I flipped through it and then I just looked up and I said, forget it, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I just got up and I handed it back. So
very early.
Within 3 minutes. So I just got it, I read it and I said, nah. I put my thing down and I just went to the examiner and I gave and she's like, you're done. I said, yeah, I'm so done. And then I left the college and then I didn't go back.
But you could have saved yourself the trouble by deciding the night before also.
I could have saved myself the trouble and decided 4 years before going through 4 years of that.
Oh, at the end of 4 years you said you're not taking it. Okay.
Exactly.
Just out of curiosity, what was the subject?
I think it was ancient Indian culture or anthropology, one of the two.
So say a possible question could have been, what are the origins of the bust of the bearded man in Mohenjo-daro?
Right.
Could have been.
Could have been, yeah.
And you decide that you'll write down all the rules of lawn tennis. You could have amused yourself for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And some teacher, say reading your paper in Kerala, could have given you some marks for it.
No, I think that I could have answered the question. It's just, I I didn't have the, there's sometimes you don't have the patience to go through the whole thing anymore. You just don't want to know what's going to come of this because it's so uninteresting to you. So I guess I didn't have any desire at that point to write anything, but I should have. I think maybe in retrospect I could have.
Yeah, like you were not even up for comedy.
No, I was not in the mood for, trying to be clever or any of that.
Yeah. It's like a cricketer who refuses to bat. Because oftentimes, when I am not up for doing a stand-up show, I'm in a bad mood. Often the promoter tells me, go say anything. And I have decided that now that we live in a world where everyone just says anything, whatever I say can't be the worst thing they've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's one of the benefits. So whatever, it's just that day you were not up for fun.
I was not up for fun.
But were you to be up for fun, you could have written things.
I could have written the greatest thing. I could have written something, but that's the case with any day. That's the case with any day staring in front of a blank paper. You could have done anything. I mean, even right now I can write on this piece of paper something that could be brilliant. But I could. But it's, you choose not to.
But human potential is endless. You realize this.
Possibilities are endless.
I mean, this is why you and I have not written a film together.
Yeah.
We've talked about it many, many times. But we haven't because it could be incredible.
And could be really bad also.
Which is why producers in India will always respect us.
Because they don't know whether it could be great or shit.
They're like, these guys, if they ever got into this business.
And that's why there's always the mystique.
Yeah.
Once he gets into it, then it's over for everyone.
Once you do get into it and it's rubbish.
Then it's then it's defined. No?
Then it's like this.
It's like the profits of a startup, like something we've discussed before.
Yeah.
You don't want to be profitable.
You never want to be profitable.
So the same for filmmaking. You never want to make the film because then you can be defined by it.
And the moment people figure out what you can do.
Yeah.
Like in podcasts, we people have seen this.
They've seen.
So that's why no one listens because they've realized.
Coming back to your first point of, being nervous about can we do this anymore?
About anything.
No, about this podcast. When you said that you were a little bit nervous about doing the podcast because maybe we've forgotten how to do it. I think given the last 5 minutes of conversation, I think we have.
We've forgotten.
It's going very badly.
It is. But again, this is not the worst podcast in the world.
No, it's not.
So that one of the great benefits of living in the age of social media is there's always something worse out there. Because
like just skip this video and go to the next one.
Correct.
And it'll definitely be worse.
And the genius actually lies in editors and producers.
Yeah.
Like our wonderful producer and editor, Akanksha Kadam, will find 3 minutes of intelligence among this fecal matter that we are creating. Which is why I think today, if you were taking that anthropology exam, you would just write down anything. Because that time, let us say, some of the thoughts in your head could possibly have been, every other paper will be better than mine, and I don't want to do this for a living.
Yeah.
But then, what in today's world, if you were in that classroom, you look it up and be like, look at that guy, Abhishek. Whatever I write can't be worse than that. Just look at him. And that will give you the confidence. Like, I have always lived my life thinking there's someone out there who's doing this. And if he can do this,
then why can't I?
Then surely.
Yeah.
Do you not feel that way about acting or other things? Like when you wake up, you're like, yes, I may not be very good at my craft.
Yeah.
I have not maybe formally gone to the drama schools I wanted to. But look, he's getting work.
Yeah. No, I wake up with that confidence, but then by coffee and all, I think then it kind of, reality kind of sets in. And by the time I go to sleep, then I need to sleep so that then I can wake up with the same confidence again.
Yeah, but that other guy is continuing to be worse than you.
That's okay.
No, but they will always be there for your joy.
For my pleasure.
When you open Instagram, you're like, this guy's got money.
Correct. But that's always been the case. The ability to be able to shit on people is something that, it keeps you hopeful. it keeps you alive in the sense that it keeps you that fake feeling of superiority. You know that I can, he can. So
And you can. That's the great
maybe,
benefit.
but I'm saying
You know,
that. But the notion that you can,
Yeah.
or the feeling that you can,
he's getting work. You know,
exactly. Whether he's good, bad, better is a separate thing.
Like,
But
as long as in your head he's worse.
in the head, everyone has to be worse.
Yeah, yeah. If people in a very if I would not succeed at say Princeton or Harvard Business School or places like that because everyone is brighter than you.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know about how you function, but I need to be in a society where there's always some guy who you think just shat his pants. You know, you think this guy.
I'm better than that. I'm better than
At
that.
least I'm not shitting my pants in the middle of the day. You know, and once you have that one person,
At least I'm not that.
that's all. Isn't that's not your motivator? Different people look at different. You might have higher motivators saying, "Oh, look,
I want to be that.
I want to be Nasruddin Shah doing King Lear." You know, that's also another kind of motivation.
Right.
My motivation comes from the opposite.
I'm better than you.
Just by getting up, I'm like, if I was in that anthropology exam, the reason I would write anything is I'd look at that guy and be like, "Oh, he just shat his pants."
So you're
At least
saying
I'm
that
not shitting my
you
pants.
would prefer to stay in the ring. Stay in the ring for
And
the
do
fight.
anything.
And do anything. Whatever. Just stay there. Something will come of it.
So like,
I
what
am
is he
saying
doing?
that-
What is he doing? He's like, what am I doing? See this guy. See
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Yeah, what I did was I left the ring.
You're a
And,
graceful person.
No, I didn't want to. Whatever. That's a separate thing.
No, but I mean that somewhere in your head, you're like, other people who are better than me should be doing this.
Yeah, no,
And-
people who
Really love it.
and do it.
my
yeah.
only argument with the present world is everyone is doing what they're not good at.
Correct.
So why should we also not do a podcast?
We should also do it. And we are doing it. And we have been doing it for very long.
Because there's so much worse out there.
Yeah.
And they are successful.
True.
I had a loss in my family recently. My dad passed away at 85.
Yeah, very
But
sorry
he-
to hear that. But
Just fine. He lived a great life.
a lovely,
He was fine,
really,
etc.
really lovely, inspiring man with great
You have met him.
stories.
He
I've
was
met him.
Indeed,
he was
he was
amazing,
he was a
amazing
good guy.
person. Yeah.
Now, we had a conundrum as a result of that,
Right.
which is at what age? My mother's still alive, but
Yeah.
at what age can one call themselves an orphan?
Right.
Obviously, the correct answer is when both their parents are dead.
Right.
But as we get into our 50s, slowly, a lot of our parents will pass away.
Sure. I mean, going forward, yes.
And I guess then we are orphans. But
Well, yeah,
is
that's
that your question was, is that just a child thing? Orphan, like from Charles
Yeah.
Dickens? Or
No, because I remember that someone close to our age must have been in his 50s, and he said that when his parents passed away, one and then the other, close to each other, he said, now I am an orphan. And he was around 53 or 54, must have been like in mid 50s. And I was just thinking that is it, I mean, yeah, but is it, can you still claim that status?
I know what you mean.
And I think that, like, I mean, we say that this child is an orphan, this child. But if after 18, if both your parents have passed away, I mean, unfortunate at any age, but I'm saying after 18, like at 22, 23, 24, can you still be an orphan?
I think fine. I think up to 40 you're okay.
But who is making these rules? Like, who is saying that one
We
second?
we are.
So we're
I
deciding
mean,
now.
but who else has had this conversation?
No, because I feel that it actually should be for any age. That's my feeling.
So I mean, you're
I mean,
absolutely
for the
right.
first time I heard it, I thought it was weird. I said, "Come on, man! You're like 53
That's-
now. What orphan? You're not an
that-
orphan.
that
You're just a
thought
guy
is-
whose
parents
parents
have
have
died.
passed away, and now you're not an orphan."
And I think I've realized what we're getting into is, are you a worthy orphan or an unworthy orphan? You know, like that person who's led a full life is orphaned.
He's orphaned.
But we don't take their orphanage seriously.
We don't give it the due respect.
Because you're like, what are you orphan? You're old guy. You're old guy.
Yeah,
The word orphan is associated with a young
person.
type person.
a young person.
And I feel some people will say that if you are a 63-year-old orphan
Yeah.
running in the race with an 8-year-old orphan,
Right.
you should be disqualified from that race.
Right, from the get-go only. You're not allowed to run.
It's like, how you can't be a heavyweight boxer fighting in a lightweight or middleweight category. You have your own category.
It's a separate kind of
And
thing.
I think the separate category should be old people who've lost their parents.
Which is tremendous grief, but
Very sad.
and a
we're all
feeling of
facing
not having that support or that kind of person in your life, or the same feelings more sometimes.
Yeah. So you could write emotional orphan, old guy, etc. But don't play with orphan.
See, now it gets very tricky because my granddad was an orphan. He grew up in an orphanage. He was a Jewish guy. But he grew up in a Christian orphanage. So he grew up Christian, but actually being born Jewish. But he played to Mother Mary and all of that because he was in a Christian orphanage. So he didn't
And can
know
we say
Judaism.
that it was because when he was put in the orphanage, he wasn't given a choice. That the
was it.
religious
The
instruction
religious
of the
whatever.
orphanage was
But
Christian.
His mom passed away and his dad remarried and put him in an orphanage. And then cut all ties with him. So he grew up.
Biological father.
His biological father cut all ties with him and put him in an orphanage. So he grew up the life of an orphan, but not being an orphan. Now, where does he qualify?
That's a good question. So we put him in a third category
Okay.
of person with parent
Person
living in an orphanage.
So he's living an orphan life. I guess it is an emotional thing ultimately.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it has to come down to emotional thing, and I think that you can feel that feeling of being an orphan or alone can happen at any age.
Even when both your parents are alive.
Alive, you can feel orphaned.
Yeah.
You know,
Like they have no time for me.
they don't want to talk to me.
What you can't do is check into an orphanage.
That you, as a 60-year-old man, if you want to go and check into an orphanage and saying my parents have died, please give me admission. I'll do the thing. But they're all 7-year-old children over here.
So
What are you
and
gonna
we
do?
don't know the designs of the 60-year-old man
Yeah.
or antecedents, And also, I think orphanages have children-based rules.
Yeah.
Like wear this uniform. Dinner is at 9. Now the
But I think old
60-year-old
people
guy
can get into that
is
also.
eating with this thing. 'Cause
TV
he's-
time.
TV
all that time is there. Just different shows. They want to watch cartoons. He'll want to watch Arnab. That's the only difference.
But the life is similar, you're saying.
Similar time.
Similar life.
Similar time. TV time. Where's my pudding? Same thing. It's just at a different age.
I suppose it's true. Old people become quite childish the older they
Yeah,
go.
right, of course.
It is true. But I just think that orphanages need strict rules. Strict rules, because from what we're discussing,
You're saying it
it's
has to have
too
an
free-
age limit. It has to have
too
an age
free
limit.
for all. It's too free for all. And I think some orphanages should write.
No old people. No old orphans allowed.
Correct. They should definitely write no old orphans around.
Yeah.
And if you feel that's too direct, because that is very direct, and
Very
also
rude.
a lot of signs, the parentheses doesn't go well. Like in a big sign, like if it says, Mother Mary Orphanage, something, parentheses, no old people, then they've had some trouble in the past.
Where some people have tried to get in past the age.
They're putting some history problem in
Yeah.
the thing. It's much cleaner to say Mother Mary orphanage for orphans. Like make it clear in the, orphans. So
Till adulthood or something like that. Something
Yeah.
very specific.
Yeah. Till 20 or
Whatever. 16, 18,
18.
whatever.
Yeah. Then the message is clear. Don't fuck with us.
Yeah.
That message is sometimes quite important.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like a lot can come from messaging. I remember during Durga Puja in Calcutta, going to a pandal and seeing a message that said in big letters, "No YouTubers, please."
Okay.
So clearly from that, they've had trouble.
There was an incident. there was a full fiasco. Fight broke out. Hata pai, as they call it.
And sometimes that's all the information you need.
Yeah, that some shit went down here with someone and a selfie stick. And
No, because it's so specific.
yeah.
You know, it's not something you're expecting.
A lot of places now, when you go to museums and a lot of things, they say photo le sakta hai, video nahi. Because
Something happened.
because all these places. So what happens is that everyone wants to make content everywhere, right? Like they want to make some sort of film, right? They want to shoot some video and then this thing and then they'll talk about it, whatever. So a lot of these places, museums and galleries and this thing, they're like, you can take photographs, okay, but don't start doing like the dances and all in front of our installation. So they're saying, don't do a full video in front of these things. Photos you can take. You want to take this thing, whatever you want, information, all that is fine. But they're against making those places about your video. You know,
Also, something happened
something must have gone down in these places.
in the video different from the photo.
I'm saying that, like, I went to this film history museum on Pedder Road first time, and they're very nice place.
Must be lovely.
Yeah, it's very good. But and the same rule over there: no videos. Photo le sakta hai, video nahi. Because I'm sure at some stage there was some guy or girl who must have started doing some dance or gyration in front of like a
Classic.
like a Guru Dutt or a Kishore Kumar poster or some installation, someone with a camera. There's a big statue of Satyajit Ray. But now if someone is doing like a dance in front of him and, you know, other people are also there, they're also seeing this wax statue of Satyajit Ray and suddenly you have someone...
I mean, Satyajit Ray himself is
yeah,
there.
and he's there with his camera like this, and then obviously someone's going to make the video of them dancing in front of Satyajit Ray, who's a wax statue with a camera, and it'll look like he's shooting. Now, this is occurring to everyone who goes there. Satyajit Ray is shooting me while I'm doing this flossing or whatever it is, you know. It's a good video.
You know,
it's a good video,
it's
but
a
they
great
don't
video.
want that video to be out.
And I think a lot of the time the signs are put up in places like this to tell us don't even think about.
Don't
Dot,
go
dot,
there.
dot.
Yeah.
Don't even, you know, I know what's going on in your mind. You want to imagine if there is a poster of Mother India. 90% of the influencers want to stand under it and do this with their own flag.
Yeah.
You know, like, and just do this or whatever. And saying, don't even think.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Because people have done it.
Yeah.
Suffering, you know, leads to a lot of good conclusions. You know, like any venue, any event. I think once you open your door, you suffer and you realize, okay, maybe not this.
Not this. But you need to experience it to know what not to allow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that must have happened.
You know, and just one last thing I want to say is about this, which is that when people say life experience, I think 90% they mean some shit went down.
See, that's why I feel, you know, people say come to India to see the sights and all that stuff. Come to India, beautiful old architecture, a lot of history, you know, food. I think that what India as a trip does to you, and I feel this of most places that give you life experiences. The life experience is not necessarily the beauty of the landscape or, you know, the architecture. It's what you went through while going to those places, right? It's the toilets in the railway compartment. It's the diarrhea you might have had. It's the guy who took you for a ride. It's the person who tried to molest you while you were taking a rickshaw. It's the, you know, I'm saying that these difficult things.
Yeah.
It's basically putting...
Or even the surprisingly good things you're not expecting.
You're not
like
expecting
some guy suddenly
suddenly.
giving you a ride who you thought is a murderer but not a murderer.
But not a murderer. And he only took, like, you know, double the money. Whatever, something small he did. He didn't completely jip you off. It was a small jip. It wasn't a full... So I'm saying, like, these things, when they put you through this rigor, you know, this is the life experience that a place like India can put you through. It tests relationships. It tests your mettle.
Yeah.
And I think that is the, as you're saying,
For
you know,
foreigners, you're actually your guts.
For
you're
Indians
actual,
also.
literally your guts. Yeah.
Literally, and for Indians also.
Yeah.
It gives you that sort of, it's like a very rough sandpaper.
Yeah.
and it's giving.
I mean, you
shaping
go
your
deep
experiences.
into a coffee estate
Yeah.
in Coorg,
Hmm.
carrying a 5-day reservation. I'm not saying this happened to me, but I'm saying, say this has happened to me. Carrying a 5-day reservation printout, and you get there and there's nothing for miles.
Hmm.
And they say, we only have a reservation for one night.
Hmm.
And sorry, we can't find your reservation, and all our rooms are booked. So I think what this message is saying is, come to India.
Come. Then we'll see who you are. And you'll definitely leave a different person.
And when they tell you how was it, it was good life experience.
Life changing.
And you know what life experience means.
Correct.
Yeah.
What did you see? I don't know what I saw. I have no idea.
But go.
But you must. You have to experience it. You have to go to know.
One child is missing.
Yeah.
Where's your middle son?
Life experience.
Go to India. Go to India. Kunal, we have some public conundrums.
Yes.
Some lovely conundrums have come in. Sorry we were away for a little while and could not answer the public. So hello people.
Hello everyone.
We are back. Anuvab and Kunal asks, I was recently making my way back to Mumbai from Dehradun via Delhi and found this at Delhi T3 airport. This a friend of the podcast and a friend of ours, Sananda, has written this.
Oh, hi Sananda.
Hi, Sananda. 'Twas a men's chaddi neatly hung on the handle on a waiting area seat. I sat close to it and watched how others reacted. Most of the folks noticed it and walked past pretending to not see it. One gent in the next seat sitting next to it took a phone call and left. The cleaners ignored it. I was in half a mind to report it as an unidentified object, but could not muster the courage. My transit time was close to 3 hours. When it was time to board, I felt a sort of kinship with the chaddi I have now observed and thought about it so deeply that I waved it goodbye. Was it art and I didn't understand it? Was it some commentary on human society? Is your prophecy, meaning our prophecy about Indian flight experiences, equating to that of the railway finally coming true? What should I have done? What would we have done? Also, why Delhi?
Why is Delhi?
I suppose this last one, why is Delhi, is a question that people all the way from Alexander have been trying to answer.
Why is Delhi?
You know, this is a big one.
Yeah.
Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Nadir Shah.
No one has an answer.
Warren Hastings. Why is Delhi? Is Prime Minister Modi, Arvind Kejriwal, like the city, William Dalrymple. It's 1,000 years to answer why is Delhi.
Correct.
It's nearly impossible to answer. So we'll
Tough
try
one.
and answer a simpler one.
This we'll keep for later.
Later, why is Delhi?
But for this, and we're putting up the photo right now. Of
Yes,
you can have a look at it.
So our audience can see the chaddi.
It's quite neatly hung on the arm of this chair.
And
Someone has taken a lot of care. It isn't flung casually. It's been placed.
And as you have often said, Kunal, that anytime we see something odd in India, the larger question is what came before it? How did this come to be? Is a question we don't often ask. We accept it as it is. And whatever it is, like I had given you an example that what if it was a giant dildo in the middle of the SV Road junction? And you said that most people would not ask,
why is it here?
यहाँ एक dildo क्या कर रहा है? They'd maybe ask within the family, but they wouldn't inquire within the municipality.
Correct.
They would just say, as you said,
They would say, वो left लेना लंड के पास इतना क्यों ले रहा है? थोड़ा left से लो ना. They'd start getting into the logistics of it.
That just go around the big dick.
Go around the big dick. Don't like this thing. Don't scratch the car. All of this thing. All of that would be going on. But no one would really address the big...
Why they've put a giant dildo
in the middle of the road.
Important.
And I think that our threshold for weird things in places is very high.
Very high.
So, that you will see something that's not supposed to be there. We're almost blind to it. So I think a lot of people in the airport would have not even noticed that. I mean, even if they did notice it, it wouldn't be a big shock. They'd say, haan, chaddi, whatever. And then they'd walk past. Where's the Starbucks? So it would just be a sort of thing.
There.
It's there. And it wouldn't like really bother people because we're quite used to seeing odd things in places and just not questioning it.
It wouldn't perturb us.
It wouldn't perturb us. It wouldn't throw us. But the main question is the story behind it being there.
And it's neatly put on a chair.
It's neatly placed. And I think the simple, like the one that you'd like to think that happened is that someone had to open their bag and was repacking and had to take out a few things.
Yeah, what do you think did happen?
And then, gently placed their chaddi on the arm and forgot it. There would be one explanation, but I don't think that's what would have happened because this is looking like it's drying over here. Means that it could have been wet. Means that someone could have shat themselves. Someone could have shat themselves, gone to the loo, washed it out of courtesy, and then considered whether to put it back in the bag or wait for it to dry and then sacrifice
Logical. I mean, we're laughing, but that's probably...
And then sacrificed it on this arm because the final call, it hadn't dried and he couldn't put it back in his bag, or he just said, fuck it, just let it dry over here.
And
that's one explanation.
Do you think there was 1 second where he considered this pant that I just shat in, should I take it or not take it? Final call, Dehradun, final call. Do you think there was that 1 second?
There must have been that moment where he considered it and said, chodo. The other explanation is that there was some construction work going on over here, and this was actually a place for people to stay in the night. So the people just get comfortable, they cordon off the area, and some labor or someone who was doing some work or something was changing.
This is his living area.
This is his living area, which has now been opened up to public. That's what I also find very interesting is when suddenly a person's full living space suddenly becomes a public space.
Yeah.
We see it on our streets all the time.
Yeah.
So this could have been happening since there's so many. I'm saying there's so many thousands of stories you can tell to get to this point.
What would have happened?
But it takes a lot to throw us off this thing to say, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, look at
rarely
this is
does
probably
it
the
happen.
first time it's being discussed because Sananda saw it. It clearly had an impact on her. She said, I must alert these podcasters.
Yeah.
And we are discussing this.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, Delhi airport manages 19 million people. It's the third highest airport traffic in the world.
Yeah.
And about 18.999 million people that walk past didn't give this a second thought.
Right.
Right? Which says something about how comfortable we are of seeing things that shouldn't be in a place.
Yes.
Like chaddis at an airport. And I think what Sananda has done is done a great service to the country, and I'm glad she did it so close to Independence Day, is to stop once in a while and ask, what is this?
And why is this?
Both those questions don't get asked very often.
And I think we do it as a form of self-defense. Because, as soon as you start asking why about one chaddi, you will just be asking questions through your day.
It's how a revolution starts.
Yeah, it is. And because, see, the whole thing of life is to ask questions. Why? Why me? Why now? Why this? And in our country, there are too many of those questions that confront us at why this dildo in the middle of the street today, here, now, why? Why this color of dildo? I don't even like this color. Why was my opinion not take? Why is this chaddi here? So I'm saying that
why won't you accept I'm an orphan?
Why don't you accept that? So I'm saying that these things of asking why, because if we did that, our day would be full of just asking why. So I think that's why people choose not to see it. They just like, I didn't see that chaddi. I just need the coffee.
Flight to Chennai.
The chaddi. I'm not asking any questions. I'm not getting into it. I'm not getting in. But we are here discussing, the story, the backstory, the person. What did he have? What was the problem? Was it wet? Was a laborer there? Was it someone who's forgotten very beloved chaddi? What is the story
Or
behind
is there someone totally naked roaming around the airport?
Or just like going commando for the last 2 days from.
That's also possible.
And just like looking
Someone
for
said,
his chaddi.
Nahi pehnunga.
Yeah.
Nahi pehnunga chaddi.
Nahi chahiye.
He probably lost his job. He had
Yeah.
he had a moment.
He had a
Stage
moment like I
fright,
had when I was
like
giving
with
my
your
exam.
anthropology exam. He had a moment. And we've talked about those moments when a human being says,
Enough.
enough. Enough is the right word. I was going to say don't care, but actually the right word is enough.
Yeah.
So enough. Takes off his chaddi and he just says, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. And you got to push a person to the brink. But in India, what I really respect is that when a person is pushed to the brink, so that he just takes off his underwear and just leaves it and walks away into whatever he has to deal with, nobody says why.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
I
about
respect
India.
that. In many ways, that is a sort of open society. It is a society that is accepting and
Because
open
in
and
Europe,
free.
any little thing,
Like not
and why? Why are you doing this? Why?
No questions asked.
I don't know if this was written to us to tell us, and I'm quite sure it wasn't, to tell us if you find, this wasn't a lost and found she was doing through the podcast.
No.
If you found this chaddi, let
Then
them
please
know.
let them know. No.
Yeah. But, I mean, just out of my generosity, if anybody has lost a chaddi in Delhi T3,
T3 light grey. I'm sure it's still there waiting for you.
please
So
contact Sananda. We can't give Sananda's details, but if
I think it's more helpful to contact T3
T3 contact
because
T3
Sananda's
because
left since
Sananda
then.
is confounded also.
Yeah.
And it's a man's chaddi. So it's still drying. It's dried by now. Whoever you are, it's
Possibly.
dried. So please collect it.
Okay.
This is a message from Dhaval.
Hi Dhaval.
Hi, Dhaval. Is a long-time listener of our podcast. Here's his conundrum. Recently, my girlfriend and I went to a slightly high-end restaurant for dinner in Bombay. I won't name the place. It has good ambience and good food. As we sat down, the waiter handed us our menus. While we were ordering, my girlfriend noticed a tiny baby cockroach on the table. She was visibly startled and we managed to push it away. Both of us looked at each other and laughed nervously, wondering whether we should continue eating. The waiter noticed, immediately apologized and asked if we'd like to switch tables. At this point, we had a decision to make. Either leave the restaurant or we're hungry and let's finish our meal. So they switched tables, they had dinner, and the restaurant put a complimentary dessert to apologize for what happened. This is his conundrum. If I accepted the dessert, which he did, was he accepting their apology, which was not given? More importantly, was this a bribe? Was he supposed to keep quiet about it and not mention it to other people who lead there? Although I'm not someone who's an influencer, a restaurant doesn't always want customers to tell people about cockroaches in the dining area.
Sure.
So he ate the dessert and now he's saying he feels a little dirty, like he took a bribe.
Feeling burdened by the
Burdened. There's a weight. There's a weight. My girlfriend thinks that she didn't have the same moral issue. She ate the dessert without remorse. Please let me know, should I be burdened by the weight of the bribe? If at all it was one. Dhaval, it was weight. a weight. He's carrying this weight. And in India, often, when a thing goes wrong, you are compensated in some other way.
Like?
Like for example, say you get into a car accident and a guy tells you that, I'm sorry I ran into your car. I could pay you. But what I am, what's in my dicky right now is I am the Western India's largest sole trader for bhujiyas. So can I give you a crate of bhujiyas for you and your family and let's forget about this whole thing. So the bribe you get is also not one you wanted, but because we're Indians, we think to ourselves,
whatever, just take the bhujia.
and I'll repair the car, whatever. So this is 100% a bribe. But I mean, the honesty of saying, your restaurant is shit leads to a fight that you pointed out could later have other repercussions.
The thing that I found with a lot of these raising an issue, especially with the restaurant themselves.
Honest issue.
Or, or you have an issue and you go to the authorities with it, or sometimes it's addressed. Sometimes it's addressed, like the restaurant is apologetic.
What? Cockroach?
Oh my God. And they'll be very sorry and we'll give you a discount and dessert and whatever. Sorry. He's saying in this case, they didn't apologize. They didn't acknowledge that it's there. They slyly gave one dessert saying, sir, for you, sir. So, like they just tried to be a little bit, so.
It's a full bribe.
Please, so it was that kind of thing. It's just like, please just forget it happened without saying any of that. It's a little tricky, the situation. Because no one's addressing the elephant in the room. Like no one's just talking about it openly and saying that, this is hygiene.
We didn't do it.
Yeah, they're not acknowledging that it happened. Now, the thing is that I found that sometimes when I go with something, like a complaint, like I remember doing this in college also, like I'd go with some problem, that, my iCard, this, that, it's all this thing, it's spoiled, it's scratched, something. They'll pull out some other thing of yours that you had screwed up on. That they'll start raising other issues.
Once again, Kunal Roy Kapoor.
Let me just check your attendance. I'm like, but what does that have to do with it? I'm not here for attendance. Just let me check. Let me see your record. Even when you go to the cops and all, sometimes for some complaint, a lot of loud music is being played and all that stuff. Just please come and this thing. कौन से माले पे रहते हैं आप? साथ अच्छा. तो आप ही, so they'll start turning the table on you.
आपका 2 ट्रैफिक का फाइन बाकी है ना?
ट्रैफिक का फाइन का क्या लेना? I mean, I've come with a different complaint saying आपका 4,000 रुपए का RTO का बाकी है. But I didn't come with this problem.
आप क्या बोल रहे हैं? आपका कुक भाग गया आपका टीवी लेके. कुणाल रॉय कपूर. आपका एक आउटस्टैंडिंग GST भी है ना?
So I'm saying, this is what happens in this thing, is that they like to get in. So here, say you didn't take the bribe out of principle. You're like, no, I don't want this dessert. Please take it back. I'm very upset. You haven't given me, you haven't acknowledged. I'm writing something on whatever these platforms. Cockroach was found and all. They could take it nicely. They could say, we apologize for the hygiene. We had whatever, make some excuse. We are sorry. Next time you come, blah, blah, blah. Or they could say, let us please clarify the status of this couple. They came in demanding
They come
this.
often to
They
restaurants.
come often to restaurants.
With their own cockroach.
And please check this person's credentials before. I'm saying that they'll get into your own. So it could go down that route also. 100%. Where it could become, like a smear campaign against you.
Yeah, because what happens, interestingly in India, is that a thing happens. And then if you are a witness to that thing, that injustice, then what India is saying is just be quiet and take the dessert.
Take the dessert. They're saying don't raise your voice.
Yeah. But there's a fire. There's a murder. There's a rape. There's children dying.
Who are you?
Just have some
Where
dessert.
do you live?
Just have some dessert.
Just have some dessert. Yes. So here I think there are 2 routes to go. If you want to fight the fight, and then you're open to all sorts of stuff happening. But you're opening a very big chapter, let me tell you. It's a very big, because it could go in many directions. Once you start complaining about restaurants online, and I mean, spreading the news with friends is one thing, but if you put it out there.
Or anything. I mean, if you see a thing.
You see a thing
and you say the truth.
The truth.
About
and you start reporting.
Cockroach. Riot.
Yeah.
Anything it
could be. Then you need to be prepared to follow through with it, because it could be a 1 week long thing now.
Or years long in a court case.
It could be many things. So just be prepared for that. Or
I've seen a cockroach here. Your cockroach. I am filing a criminal complaint against you.
Yeah.
You're a cockroach.
You're a cockroach, yeah.
And then for the next 30 years, you're fighting that criminal case.
Correct. As opposed to, sir, this is a free dessert. Chocolate mousse. And you eat it.
So what you're saying is that what Dhaval has witnessed is a microcosm of how India functions.
It is.
You know who'll do better in India?
Who?
The girlfriend.
She just took it. Said, just eat the dessert quietly now.
She's figured India out.
She's figured it out.
Honestly, you know, I mean, I am a shallow, weak person.
You'd eat the dessert.
I'd 100% eat the dessert. In fact, you know, I would expect that trouble was coming because I'd witnessed the cockroach and I knew that I'd be threatened.
Yeah.
So I'd willingly keep quiet on my own.
On your own.
Even without this.
And that is the burden that any person who witnesses a crime faces. Any person who witnesses something wrong has a choice at that moment. Either you keep quiet, okay, or you raise your voice at that moment when you witness the thing, the injustice, the crime, the whatever, in this case, a health hazard. But then you have to follow, then you have to face the repercussions of that. It's a long journey from there. You know?
And it's usually a personal attack.
Yeah. I think in such situations, if you had chosen to get up and leave, you know, I'm not eating here. That's one thing. I don't want anything to do with this place. It's dirty. I saw a cockroach. Let's get out of here.
But can I say something, Kirk? I feel if you did that, they'll still come and find you. Because you've seen too much.
You've seen too much. They'll track you down.
They'll find you.
Because you're a witness now. It's like that movie Witness. Your whole life could be ruined by just witnessing something.
And then the owner of the restaurant will find out where he lives.
Find them.
Wherever they are.
Next, you know, the dessert will be coming home.
Yeah.
They'll say, first send the dessert. Send it home.
Yeah.
Send it to the house.
What do you mean it can't be bought?
How much will it take?
Yeah.
1 kg. 1 kg cake. Mousse cake. Apple pie.
They start returning. Say he returns. Say, let's say Dhaval has high morals.
Yeah.
Starts returning stuff. At some point,
Yes,
the owner will flip.
Everybody has a price.
And so then he'd start getting little messages like, we hear that you have old parents.
Can we send them anything?
I heard your kids are going abroad to study. Rensselaer Polytechnic? It's near that big lake, no?
Can we pack brownies for them?
It's that.
It'll be a threatening way of sending some food, you know?
It's just so...
And then you'll reply with, I don't want your cockroach-infested food. And they'll be like,
oh.
Is that how it's going to be?
Yeah.
So just be very careful.
And 5 minutes later, big explosion. The car in the parking garage next to them is blown up.
Yeah.
Not their car.
No.
The one next to them. And then this could be you next time. You know, like it's that.
It'll be very dangerous.
That's probably why people keep walking when they see a chaddi, no?
Walk away.
Because you don't know what the chaddi can lead to.
You don't know who it belongs to.
Yeah.
What the story of the chaddi is, whose it is, where it came from. Once you start asking these questions.
If you observe and report in India, observe, shut up, eat the dessert.
Eat the dessert.
Move on. This is the thing.
Yeah. Be weak.
Be weak. Sadly, what I'm complaining about is a bigger problem. That I'm never near the cockroach. Like, I want the dessert. You know?
You want the free dessert. You're waiting for the
I'm waiting to observe something where I'll be of some value.
Where you have some leverage.
That's all I'm after. Some leverage. I'm never in a situation where
you have leverage.
I have any leverage only.
Oh, so this happened to you? Oh, we're so sorry. You want to be in that position.
Yeah. You know who I am? I'm the guy next to Dhaval. Saying, if I want the dessert, I'll have the dessert.
I'll take.
Who are you?
I'll take it. What did you see? I also saw. What did you see? Nothing. I saw that he saw.
Tell us what he saw.
Whatever, he saw something.
I saw that also. Shut up. Get out. I'm never near any reason for which a free dessert is given. Sad.
Very. It's tragic.
I don't take enough risks.
Yeah.
Kunal, this has been our last week.
This has been,
and
yes.
we are back.
We're back with a whimper, as they say.
We are, you know, because I'll tell you why. Because everyone is back with a bang.
Yeah.
How do we differentiate also?
We're back very quietly, subtly.
Quietly back. But also like we were quietly there.
That's
we were
what.
quietly there.
And now we're quietly back.
Because, everyone's after success.
And I've never wanted to be part of a bang. Like, the word bang also, back with a bang means that there's some explosion has taken place, some limbs have been lost. I just want to
What
do
is the award that we won? It was for being here.
survival.
That's all.
We won an award, a comedy
A
award
comedy award.
for survival.
For just we're here.
yeah.
Like-
Existing.
The moon and the sun,
Yeah.
like they're never up for change maker of the year.
No.
They're not playing that game.
Consistency.
Plus, what more do you want? What? This is the trouble with striving for some achievement. Is the next day somebody else will get it.
Mm.
If you've never been, you can't be a has-been if you never were.
Yeah. And I never strive for any target. Or, you never strive for any achievement, because once you achieve it, then
There'll be another target.
no, then you've achieved it.
That's why you left that exam hall.
I left it.
Your potential for being an anthropologist
will never be known.
100%.
And right now, the chances of me being an anthropologist are as good
As you
when
not being an
not
anthropologist.
So it's
100%.
Yeah.
50-50. It could go either way.
Could go either way.
It could go anywhere.
Keeping options open.
That's why you walked out. You knew what could happen.
Yeah.
So that's why saying that, guys, listen to this. This is the greatest podcast in the world. We're not those people. And you are listeners are not those people. So all I'm
So
saying
let's-
is, but you're there, we're here,
Yeah.
and we'll be here. You be there.
Okay.
Just don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chalo.
Okay.
We'll go then.
Listeners,
My back is paining. Bye.
bye. That's it, right?
Yeah.
How much energy do we have? See, now it's probably over.
Yeah, it's fully over. Good, we got some. You'll have to edit some of those sections, no?